Um, Great. I think we can start with the Jura training. I'm going to try to do it in English. Normally, I'm doing the training in either Dutch or French, but I'm going to do my best to do it in English. Unfortunately, in brackets, but Jura is only available in Dutch or in French. So I'm going to talk in English, but show you in Dutch and perhaps sometimes switch to the French part. So I'm going to talk about Jura. I'm going to show you sometimes a prototype of the next Jura, which will be there next year, which will be more user-friendly and have some little tricks. And well, I've been asked to tell you something about what we're planning to do with AI. So it's all in. I'm going to delete this one because my mails will keep on coming. So we aren't disturbed by my call. So Jura training, I'm going to talk about content. I'm going to talk about how to search and some little functionalities at the end. If there are any questions, just ask. I hope everybody at home can hear me. I'm going to check over here. It should be okay. But if anyone can't hear me, just let me know, okay? And if there are any questions, just raise your hand, ask them, because it's more interesting than to listen to a standard Jura training. So if there are any, don't hesitate. Well, homepage-wise, I'm not going to talk a lot about the homepage. Just so you know, we have some recent news items in front. I'm not going to talk about news items. Yes, there are news items in Jura. What's more interesting for you, I think, is that the newsletter of Jura is something you can personalize. So you have your own login, you can do it. It's highly recommended. Zou je even scherm delen? Zodat het klaar stond. Very painful. Like that. All right, great. Still sharing. So you can modify, you can personalize your e-time. So you just click on your name, which is your own personal workspace that you're opening. You just click on Mijn instellingen, les paramètres en français. So you just click on them, and then on the left-hand side, you have your preferred domains, the possibility to select them. So by default, you will be receiving a newsletter that's talking about every brand. So it might not be as interesting for you as it can be. So what you can do is say, let's select, for instance, economic law, and you just select the branch of law total, or you can click on the plus next to civil law, and let's say, okay, here, goederenrecht, droit des biens, I'm going to select that one. And as you're selecting your preferred domains, the letter of info will be shorter, but more relevant for you as a user. And of course, you have to confirm. It's highly recommended. Why? Because as you do, your letter of your e-sign will be shorter, will be more relevant for you as a user. And you can select those preferred domains as a filter when you're launching a search. So that's a certain plus. I'm going to talk about it later on. On the right-hand side of Jura, you have some recently appeared items which might or might not interest you, but it's something available for every user. So if you see something over there that's interesting for you, sometimes I've been asked, well, how long will the link remain there? I haven't got a clue. So if you see something that's relevant for you as a user, just open it once and put it aside by clicking on the square on the right-hand side. You will put it aside, and you can find it under your name again, mijn gemarkeerde documenten, mijn document marqué. So it's simply something, it's a very short, very easy functionality, but you're not losing anything because it won't be in my history because I haven't. But this one will give you more. Which is more important for me as a user are the useful links on the bottom, on the right-hand side, because over there you have some quick links to documents that are opened a lot. It's a fixed list, let's say, but one of those that's highly relevant, of course, is the correlation table between the old and the new civil code. So it's a document created by one of our colleagues. And of course, well, on the left-hand side, you have the table of content, which you can use because you can see it structured following the structure of the new civil code, but you have the option following the structure of the old civil codes. You have two options to see the correlation table. And then, of course, you just click on the article you want to do. Maybe interesting to know is over here, you can see a part of the correlation table. And as a plus, we added the link to the memorie van toelichting, l'exposé des motifs. Article per article. In the comment section on the bottom, you can just click and you have access to that document, especially for this article. Other documents that are available over here in the useful links section or other legislation, but also an overview of rulings and circulaires. Fiscale administratie, l'administration fiscale. So it's just an overview. It's just a simple list that's available over there. But just click on one of the dates, and then you will be opening an overview of those documents with links to the documents, with links to the legal base, etc. So it's one of a way to show you the pseudo legislation in Jura, but in a kind of an overview. It's available on the homepage. One document that I'd like to highlight is the upcoming legislation. So, of course, legislation in Jura is the one published in the Belgium Official Gazette. So we don't read the papers and, oh, there might be something upcoming. It will be in Jura when it's in the Belgium Official Gazette. But we created a document with the most important upcoming legislation over there. That's the document you can use just to see on the left-hand side, for instance, civil law. Okay, the proposition of book 9, just click on it if you want to know more. And over here, you have the different statuses. Those amongst you who already know this document, a little summary sometimes, and a link to the preparatory work. Just click on it and you immediately have access to the website. In this case of the Belgian Chamber. The other parliaments in Belgium, well, we have lots of them, but we also have links to those. It's not complete, but the most important legislation will be.
What are the subdivisions on the left? So you have civil rights.
Yeah, you have
law, public law.
Open by default. You have public, civil, public recht. So the most important ones, social. What's also very important, and it's, as you can see, this is my default homepage, but you have to scroll to the bottom of the page because there is an overview of new episodes of magazines. So let's say there's a magazine you're interested in. You can see the new episodes on the homepage. So that's a little improvement over last time I saw you guys because then it wasn't possible. The newsletter of Jura won't say, well, you like, let's say TPR, magazine you like reading. You can't select it. It won't be as such in your newsletter. Over here, you can see them. New episodes of magazines. Let's say over here, Tijdschrift voor Belgisch Burgerlijk Recht. I'm interested and just click on the link and I have the latest episode of that magazine available. But at this point in time, you have to connect to Jura. You have to look on your homepage and go back 1 month in time just by clicking on the arrows. But oh, just misclicked. But you have to log in. I've talked shortly about the successor of Jura. Successor of Jura will give you the possibility to say, well, that magazine is interesting to me, that one as well, and you can set an alert on a certain magazine. So now you really have to log in Jura and check it yourself on the bottom, but the successor, which will be normally available in 2025, fingers if our IT services do what they need to do, but normally beginning 2025. And then you have a system of alerting. Just say that magazine interests me and go on. As you can see, some of the magazines over here have the Wolfskluwer logo on it. Others don't. What's the difference? The others are magazines of other publishers. So it's never, I repeat, it's never possible to read them in Jura. So it's only a reference that's available. Let's say you see one, you can click on it, you can see what's in it. If there's a case law available, you have the summary in Dutch and in French, but the doctrine, the full text is never available. So it's only a reference. But what's interesting, we have a structure, a legal structure in Jura, which is very useful. They're embedded in that structure, but you can never read them. Sometimes you can see a document and you say, oh, it's interesting. You can never. So only Wolfenskleur text are available in full text, of course. But you can see them, new episodes. That's homepage wise, let's say. Talking about legislation, one of the well, the pluses of Jura is legislation is up to date. It's a very important one. I said very 3 times, but it's very important because we're updating legislation very fast. So normally it's a delay of 5 working days after publication in Belgium Official Gazette. It's up to date. Of course, we're doing more because simply being up to date isn't enough. So what we're doing is adding some comments. Comments, extras, links to preparatory works, or, and that's quite new for European legislation, you have a link to the website of the European Union. So CLX, just click on the link again, more information available. The comments in Jura, legislation-wise, are very important because they are giving you extra information that you can't have over here. So, okay, there's a law, apparently, just click on the link. You also have the most recent version of that law. And in that law, of course, you will be having links to the preparatory works. That's always on top. Like over here in the comments, parlementaire voorbereiding, travaux parlementaire. Just click on it, and you have the link to the website of the chamber or the Senate. Those are always preparatory works of the original version of that document. So the law of August 2002, the link to the preparatory works of 2002. So of course, we know we have lots of modifications, and that's why we've improved the possibility to see related documents on an article. I'm just going to take another example because I want to show you some more things at once. Let's take this one, WB92 CR 92. What you can see over there is, we'll be seeing, is of course, this is the most recent version of that article, but you can see some buttons over here. Overview of modification, links to sources, case law, and those will be giving you access to related documents on an article level. So if I want an overview of the modification of this article, just click on that button and you can see you have an overview of legislation that's changed this article with, again, a link to the preparatory works of that act. Sources is the newest one. There's been a connection now between the article and pseudo legislation, like rulings, etc., are related at this article. Case law, next one. Case law has given you the possibility to have a connection between case law and an article. This isn't complete. I'm going to show you how to obtain every case law available in Jura related to a certain topic. This is case law in Jura, so that's the first limit. Starting 2010, so recent case law that talks about this article in the summary. So it's recent relevant case law. It isn't everything about this article. So you know, it will give you a first impression, but it's not complete. As a lawyer, you have an overview. This is a first step, let's say. Questions lots of the times about a timeline, because this is the most current version of this article. But as you can see over here, older versions, future versions, just click on whatever of the two. And then you also, or you always have the current version on the left-hand side, timeline completely on the left-hand side, and just select another version. And now I think I saw you in 2020 last time. Now you can see differences between the two. Or it wasn't available. Now you can see the differences between two versions. Always the current version and a future or an older. This is only available on an article level, so unfortunately for the civil code, it isn't possible to compare an old version of the older civil code with its successor. It may be something that can be improved. I've received lots of questions about it. Just so you know, timeline is on an article. So we have lots of information. I can talk about legislation for an hour, so it's not the goal of the day. But just remember, please look at the comments. It's a plus, the related documents. What will be next in the successor, the Jura 2.0? There you will have an extra button that will give you the artikelsgewijze commentaren, les commentaires systématiques, also on an article level. Just look out an article, and then you have a text of an expert that's only talking about that article. So that will be an extra possibility to quickly have more information available. Case law, well, I can deal with case law quite fast because case law, of course, it's a selection in Jura. What case law is available in Jura? Constitutional Court, of course, Supreme Court, Court of Justice of the European Union. That case law is available. So always in a summary in Dutch and in French with the full text available. Other case law at this moment is case law that's been published in a legal magazine. So even if there's some judgment of justice of the peace is published by a competitor, it will be in Jura, only with a summary in Dutch and in French. Text is in that case not available because it's not our magazine. So full text, another judgment will be available after it has been published in a magazine of Volkskleur. So case law is a selection that's available in Jura. So two things that I'd like to tell you, because okay, case law is case law. What might be interesting for you is the button over here on the left-hand side, relating documents. This will give you an overview of notes related to that judgment order. So you can see that Sunave has said something about this document. Just click on it and you can check it out. So there's a link between notes and case law. It's switch between the two of them. Of course, at some point in time, there will be a database with all the case law in Belgium available. Every once in the foreseeable or not so foreseeable future. That's something we're working on right now. In Nederland, in Holland, you have rechtspraak.nl. So what we're doing at this moment is training AI, of course. Because what I'm going to show you about how to search in Jura, oh, great, it works. If you have millions of documents of case law, it won't be possible anymore. So you just have too much results available. So what we're doing at this moment, and there's a beta that will be available in Holland, of course, in the first half of this year, is training AI. We're training it on case law in Holland so that you can enter a query in a natural language and have even millions of documents available to get that case law that's most relevant of your case, based on the same facts, based on the same legal grounds, based on the same claims. So that is something we're training, and fortunately, the Dutch people can test it as well. And when all the bugs are fixed, and when everything in Belgium, the database will be up and running, and we have all the case law, then we can release it hopefully soon. But we need the training data. So we can test it. We're training it in Holland. I've been testing some demos and it seems to work, although I don't know a lot of case law in Holland, but it seems to work very fine. Because then we have millions of documents available. So that's one of the things we're going to do. It's called, I think, case extractor, but giving you case law that's most relevant for your case. Of course, when you have a certain judgment, let's say, you can also enter it and have similar case law. That's also a functionality that we're working. Now, doctrine. Next of our experts, you have books and you have magazines. You have two options, of course. You can launch a search and say, well, give me relevant doctrine about a certain subject. Now, something because I know we like certain magazines. There are some books we just take every day because we like them and because we the expertise in the book. We like the book. We like a magazine. If you need a certain magazine or if you need a certain book, don't forget the overview of the publications over here in you. Just don't forget it. I'm going to show you. But here you have the button magazines. Here you have the button books. So if you need a certain magazine, because I remember having published something in a certain magazine, don't know where or don't know when, but I remember the magazine, I can type in the name of the magazine over there. And then I can simply select the magazine. And if I want to, I can say, okay, 2024, 2023, select a certain date. And then select finally a certain episode. But if you simply remember that there's been published something in a certain magazine, you haven't got a clue which episode precisely, just click on here, show me the results of that magazine. Just click on it. And then you have a list of results with everything published in that magazine. Then you can start searching because you will only search in the magazine. Type in some keyword, author name, type in some keywords of the title you remember, and then you will find the text. So if you want to search in a magazine or you simply have the reference, for me, it's a button I use a lot because then I'm sure that I find it very easy. Same for the books over here. If you click on the books, of course, yeah.
Yeah, just a small question for the magazines. Is there a way to just, if you just want to read the magazine, just open a PDF of that flavoring?
So the magazine from A to Z.
Yeah, just if you would have bought it in paper and have it in front of you.
Yeah, it's not possible. I'm going to show you as well. With the books, it's not possible at this moment. So fortunately, we have the Jura 2.0. I can show you at the prototype because now I'm going to go back 2 times. I'm going to show you. Now I can say, even if I say I want everything of a certain magazine, I'm going to deselect my keywords. I can go much faster. I'm just going to show you on the home page. Let's take this magazines, for instance, the latest episode of that magazine. It's a list of results. It's a list of results with every article published in that magazine. And it will be the same for the books. But fortunately, this is the prototype. And so next time, it will give you, so beginning 2025, then you can see on the left-hand side really your episode and your articles in the right order. It will be available this year. Now it's always a list of results, and it's the same for the books. So you have lots of books. Let's say you click on a book. Then, well, of course, you have a list of every book available, like the artikelsgewijze commentaren, commentaar systematiek, but also other books. De recht, wat est bien, the Sagard. Okay, you're clicking on it, but you're obtaining a list of results. So it's the same as with the magazines. Every chapter in that book is a separate document in the list of results. At this moment, I only have 2 things to tell you that can help you over here. So first, the first result is the table of contents. So that might give you a heads up. You just click on it and then you can select the chapter that's relevant for you. Click on the chapter, and finally, on the bottom, the full text will be available in PDF. But as you can see, then you're using the table of content. First result. Other option that you have, I'm going to go back to the list of results, is that, well, you have that list of results, you know, or you're hoping that somewhere in that book is something that can help you, then you can type in some keywords again on the bottom, on the upper side, on the left-hand side, type those keywords and you will search those keywords, but only in the book already selected. But as you can see, it's not possible to read a book from A to Z. So next year, because we had a lot of feedback about that one, next year, the view might be something different, but it's the idea. Then you have the text on the right-hand side, again, a table of content on the left-hand side, and a small search part over there. So that's something easy to improve, but that will be improved. We had confirmation, me and my colleague, and that it will certainly be the case. No clients expect to read even with AI and stuff, still to read a magazine from A to Z or take a book from A to Z. Well, that will be possible next year, beginning next year. And then finally, of course, but I'm not going to talk a lot about those, but you have some templates available in Jura as well, if you want. Are there any questions about the content already at this moment? Questions?
Yeah, actually, what kind of templates? Contracts or?
You have some contracts available, like I'm going to take one over here, building agreement.
Ah, that's the one I like. This one.
Okay, well, it's, and I'm going back on that one. So just filter by templates. Have that one. So over here, maybe two things. Things I can't count down. You have a document. First of all, look at the validation date, because it might. This document I thought, well, updated August 2020, and I said, oh, new civil code. Why do I have? Well, it was already based on the upcoming legislation. So that's why for templates we've been added validation dates.
Those contracts, so you have them in PDF. I understand.
Over here on the page itself, if you click on this one, then you can see, well, this is the document over here, and you can download it, of course, download it in a PDF file. But documents like this, you have some templates, like you can say open het invulbaar model, le document à compléter. And if you click on that one, then you have a document with some fields you can fill in. Of course, you're never going to do that. You just want to modify, maybe it's a possibility. But just click over here on download to a Word file.
Ah, nice.
And later on, I'm going to show you, because this is the Dutch version. And if anyone, I hope nobody saw it already, but if anyone can see it or knows how to translate this document and find, beginning from this document, the English document, I'm giving you a bottle of, in a word. But just try to translate this one. There's an English document, an English version available, even a French version. There's also a French version, but just look where to translate it starting from this document. There's a little trick. Other questions? Then we can continue searching in Jura. And of course, searching in Jura at this moment, of course, we have to do something with keywords. Yeah.
We had a question on a case law that you mentioned earlier. Actually, you mentioned basically that, I mean, that this for me and from some of the people here, the case law of the EU Court of Justice. Do you have a summary of each judgment which is issued, or only like the most important ones?
Court of Justice is everything. from a certain period.
And then Molly, you say like more or less, yeah, how long does it take normally to have the summary available?
Depends. I have no idea actually. It's a matter of days normally. So
No, because something that we do like mostly for clients is monitoring sometimes, so it can be very useful, you know, to have a summary which is available. I mean, obviously shortly thereafter, you know, so we can also like, you know, when we explain that the judgment has been issued, then, you know, this is the main purpose of the judgment to show that can rely on.
but it was a constitutional court summary, and it was I think that was 10 days. I saw it was something because it was the Onteigeningsdecreet, expropriation law. It's something I'm interested in, and then I was really looking forward. It was 10 days.
And just one question on the summary itself. So it's like you just summarize the main, but the content of the decision itself, also the reasoning, you know, which has been given by the court.
It's an ordinary summary of the decision itself.
Yeah.
So it's but most of the facts aren't. It's most of it's mostly the decision itself. Sometimes, yeah, but the facts, no, it's not something. It's not very factual. So it's more decision itself.
And then the reasoning, like for example, when they say like, you know, the parties argue that, however, like, you know, should be dismissed because like.
No, it's a very big summary. So those are the merits treated in the case law.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? I'm going to ask you something just to know what to explain. But anyone searches in Jura who is using this? The little label. Tags. Okay, that's very important. We're going to learn something about language and those things, just the people who already know them. But it's very important in Jura. Why? Because some reasons, but let's start at the beginning. If you type in some keywords in Jura, just know one, the only thing you'll be doing is actually saying, well, give me all of the text that are containing those keywords. If the keyword is in the text, yes, the text will be in the list of results. If the keyword isn't, the text won't be in the list of results. So that's something always to memorize, because even if you think, well, let's type in that extra keyword, once one keyword isn't available, no results, right? What might be important if you type in like e-invoicing, well, of course, we'll be looking for synonyms, facturation électronique, and then or elektronische facturatie. So we're looking for synonyms. But the only thing you'll be saying to Jura, and that's always the case, is give me every text that contains this word. So belangenconflict, conflit d'intérêt. Well, of course, you have lots of text because there are lots of belangenconflicten, conflit d'intérêt, of course. So what you can do, first of all, and that's very an important one in Jura, is that you filter. Of course, you can say, but I haven't got a clue. I just want a certain result. And then the filters by information type on the upper side of the list of results aren't relevant. If you just want information, doesn't matter which one, then those aren't relevant. If you know you want a template, yeah, just click on modellen, but that's an option. Don't forget this one. The thematical structure of Jura. The structure of Jura is based on the legislation. It says, saying, well, if I know that this is my keyword and I don't have any other keywords to enter, then you can simply say, well, let's narrow this down to corporate law. Then you're using your keywords in combination with your filters. Then you've narrowed it down. This keyword hasn't changed, but this time you only have results related to, well, corporate law. Corporate and associations codes. So that's the base, and you're narrowing down just to get less results, more relevant ones. That's something I use a lot when I simply have one or two keywords and I'm having thousands of results. And I'm always looking at this because as a legal professional, I have an idea of that structure. It's based on law. And I'm going to use it to narrow it down. But very important, once you see this, once you see one of those tags, we refer them etiquettes, les etiquettes, but yes, the tags, you can click on it. Just found a certain document that's relevant for you, and then you can use those to continue. And once you click on them, have a new list of results, this time limited every text that's talking about the same legal concept. It's very important. Once I enter keywords, those might or might not be available in a certain text. And let's say I enter keywords, found a text that's relevant for me. It doesn't say there aren't any other texts that also might be relevant without all of those keywords. So once you find the legal concept relevant for you, just click on it. Of course, you can say, well, he still has 68 results. That's something we can deal with. But if you want to narrow it down even more, then you can use the search bar again. Because now I have, and it's by clicking over here, show me the selected filters. I have everything related to a certain topic. And once I enter a new keyword, I'm going to search the keyword, this time in the legal concept. And I'm going to narrow it down even more. And that's very, very important. Why? Because using those labels will give you a new list of results, but based on a certain legal topic. And you don't depend on, let's say I've entered the keyword in English, hardship, in prévisieleer, théorie de l'imprévision. I could say, well, perfect, I have everything. No, you only have the text keyword in it. As you can see, the first text with the title hardship has the legal concept, verandering van omstandigheden, changement des circonstances. Once you click on it, then you have everything related to that topic, even the legislation itself, because in the legislation, the keyword hardship won't be there. It's one of the main rules in Jura that you also use those legal concepts. And it's a structure, it's a living structure. Now with e-invoicing B2B, of course, we already had legal topics B2G, but now you also have some legal topics B2B. So it's a living structure. It's changed every day, almost every day, not Saturday and Sunday, but it's changed. It's a very important thing to use. And even, it might seem like a very stupid search, but this was a search launched by one of your colleagues in another office. But so over here you could say, well, just enter an article. How many results of case law? 40. Okay, and he said, well, okay, I know there's more information about that legal concept. Things, first of all, WER, Wetboek Economisch Recht, isn't translated in French. Cátedra économique. You're not going to translate WER. You also have the older legislation. And you're not going to search on it because you said, I want to have every text with that article in it. What can we do to have everything? Just click on the legal concept. Kwijtschelding gefailleerde ou l'effacement du failli en français. Then you have everything in Dutch and in French. Now we have every case law. Just by using those legal concepts. Because they give you relevancy. Also, they're independent of the language you're using. So just remember, here in Brussels, we're not translating keywords. Never. Might have the impression sometimes, but we're not translating. The only thing you can do to have everything available in Dutch, in French, or in English is using those labels. And you have everything. Of course, you can say, well, I have the case law available, and on the left-hand side, you have some subfilters, and you can say, only the case law of the Supreme Court is relevant for me at this point. And then you can narrow it down. But you have everything. Because the example then that I used then, they said, well, I can find entering the keywords. They typed in www. www. And they said, well, I can't find la commentaire thematique. I know, we're not translating the keywords. So just by clicking on the label and then afterwards selecting doctrine, then we had everything. That's very important. And that's also the thing we can do with the opstalovereenkomst. I don't know if anyone has already been able to translate the document, the building rights agreement. Well, just going to show you, if you type in opstalovereenkomst, there isn't a button. There isn't a Dutch-French button. Nowhere there, but use those labels, because they give you everything about the same subject in Dutch, in French, in English. Just start from your Dutch opstalovereenkomst, click on the label, click on templates again. You have all of the templates with the same subject, and then you can find the building rights agreement. Then you can find opstalovereenkomst, de contrat de subsidiariteit. You have everything. And that's the main goal. That's one of the assets of Jura, that all of the documents are connecting by those fields. Even if we haven't created a link, you can use them. Doesn't matter which is your starting point. You find the relevant case law in Jura and just begin from it, or you have some keyword, or you have a law article, but you can continue. So for me, a search using the search bar is only the beginning. If I type in some keywords and I find a result, well, great. If I can't find it, like this one, over here they were searching from some standpunten of the Vlaamse Belastingdienst in Dutch. But with those keywords, relevant keywords, but not available. But entering keywords, finding as a second result, well, this text might be interesting. So, okay, great. You can see, I'm going there to up again. This is the legal topic. We click on it. On everything, then we just go to legislation. You can find case in the Vlaamse Codex Fiscaliteit, but you can also find the other documents that are relevant. Because you're no longer depending on the appearance of keywords in the text, yes or no. So everything in Dutch and French and English and have relevancy. And sometimes it isn't always easy to find a right legal concept. So I typed in at a certain point in time this. I don't know how to say it in French, maar wait, voilà. And I saw, well, it's relevant because it was about a certain filiaal where they betekende dingen signification. Donc, jullie hebben een signification, betekening met wrong place. And then I typed in, I really couldn't find, I had too much results. I tried entering my, changing my keywords, dagvaarding, betekening, filiaal, maybe. And if you can find the result, well, great. And then I know, no, it's not that one. And then what I'm doing is always look at those labels, see the labels and the text itself, whether they're important or not. And at one point in time, my friend said to me, well, in fact, because it was difficult using the right keywords, it's an article of what we did. Okay, we have a starting point. Look at it, and then you can see some labels. Okay, just going to click on one, but I selected to the state, and it wasn't to the state. Once you click on those labels on the left-hand side, and that remains important in Jura, you can always see where you are in the structure of Jura. So at this point, I saw, okay, in Belgium itself, some special cases, but it might be too specific. Let's go up a little bit. Just say, okay, betekening in binnenland. So articles 33 until 47, but you have a selection. And we go on. And we can type in the keywords. Just to narrow down again. But once you click on those labels, this was the result I needed. But the labels are a starting point and they're connecting to the structure of Jura. That's very interesting. The professional will give us more opportunities to narrow down the search and it knows for certain we're in the right place. And if in doubt, go up a level. Say, for instance, even at some points, I'm typing in some keywords and I'm just limiting down to a penalty law. That's it. But I'm always going to try to narrow down and to focus my search. So at this moment, you saw keywords, entering keywords, the use of labels, it's a lot. Then. But as you can see, so sometimes I have the questions, can we enter some phrases? Can we enter some text, copy, paste? Can, but it will probably don't give you any relevant results. What we're working on, of course, is Q&A. AI will give us the possibility to ask and to have answers. But at this moment, hallucination is something to be aware of. We're testing really a lot in the United States, all over the world. All different business units are testing a lot. So we aren't sure of the responses. It's sometimes very specific. Going to launch something as long as we aren't sure. So the legal professional, you need to be able to verify, of course, yeah. You have the reference options in Copilot, of course, but specific cases, and of course, AI can help us, especially when we have lots of results. But when we need an answer, it has to be correct. We have to be right. As long as we aren't right, or the answers aren't what they need to be, we're not going to launch anything. But we're testing really well. Even summarization, because the question about the summary of case law, something here. We're testing something with a large language model. In Poland, they're testing something with another option that will give you have a judgment, and it will compose a summary only of citations of the judgment itself. So it's another approach. We're testing to see what's the best one. Can't hallucinate because it's creating a summary based on citations in the case law itself. So it can never hallucinate. So the only problem is it a relevant summary? Yes or no? Those things are also things we're doing. One of the next things that will shortly be available, because now I've entered keywords and I had to use the legal concepts and I had to use a lot of filter options. One of the things that will be available will be a sort of plugin, starting from a Word document. You select the part of the text, click on a button, and it will be launched in Jura. Simply, let's say, it will help you to faster open Jura. But the next step will be that you can select part of the text, and AI-wise, it will be translated into keywords that are entered in Jura with a search of a button. The need to think about a question and then to change it yourself in keywords and then typing in those keywords in Jura will be improved. Something very easily done, and I think I have it over here, a view, and I'm just going to show you because the question was there. It's something like this, that you have a certain text, translate it into keywords, and you can click on it and it will be searched in Jura. So the step to think about the keywords will be easier. That will be available normally in the beginning of this year, so the first half. But of course, I'm playing really a lot with AI stuff. Very interesting times, but I haven't got any confidence. So I'm a very critical user, and I'm always checking and rechecking. So that's why, of course, if you use AI to enter keywords in Jura, you can change them afterwards. You don't solely have to trust on them. I think I've dealt with the most important things of searching in Jura. It's the use of the labels, because this text, it's great. You can go on with the labels, so it's very important starting point. You can go on with labels, find other doctrine, of course, that's relevant for you, amongst others, the artikelsgewijze commentaren, but in Dutch, in French, in English. So you really, you don't have to do anything, but I highly recommend using them. Are there any questions about searching or anything others I said? Everyone's still with me. Going to ask, but it's one of the things. If you use them, I don't. Maybe the answer isn't available, but it's something. It's an extra weapon in your weaponry to find the results easier, even if you only have a certain. It's a starting point. I've had a case where I had to enter some case law, where I had to search on doctrine, and I really couldn't find the right keywords. The client said, those are keywords, had too much results. I really hadn't, until he said, well, that's the article. You just search the article, click on the legal concept that's available, and then go on with your doctrine. And maybe something interesting for you, but this is every doctrine available, even from other publishers. So if it's late, no, but you only want text in Jura that you can immediately read, don't forget the left-hand side, the button results with a full text available. Those will, let's say, delete the references. Not saying that the references can't be any good, because the first document I found was a reference. So I said to my friend, well, that text, because it's the answer to your problem, but this will give you results that you can immediately start. It's sorted by relevancy, so that's something, of course, the new Jura will improve the ability to have more relevant results. Now, sometimes want to change, and let's say you always have the possibility now, if you click on the little arrow, to say, well, most recent patients on top. Those might be more interesting for me than the older ones. Maybe some little improvement as well for the next Jura, because those amongst you that already know those labels, course, you have to enter them, and in those little tags, you have to find the right tag. So the next Jura, if you type in some keywords, will also do your suggestions tag-wise. So that will be easy. You don't have to pause a list of results. Of course, you can also search full text. The labels will be more important. Even with AI, that will be an improvement. Maybe some more functionalities. I'm not going to talk about it very long, but of course, don't forget the square button on the right-hand side. If you have like a difficult case and you use the text, you say, well, top, great, going to use it, and you continue. From e-invoicing, kleine vennootschappen, société. Sometimes I want to have other results. I want to double check. I want to verify and continue my search. Make a habit to put aside every text that you use. Then when you're ready, when you're checking again and rereading and stuff, then you can find everything available in. Your history, of course, is also an option, but your history in Jura is created automatically, and it will show you every document that you open. Even if it isn't relevant to you, it will be there. So this list, sometimes I open like 20 documents and then I find 2 of them very, very useful. Well, this list will contain the 20 documents. So make a habit of putting aside the documents that are really relevant. Also, your search history Well, your search history will only show you those searches when you open the text. So as you can see today, I only have 4 of them. In case I've entered more searches, but it's only showing me those that I've opened. When I've opened them, then it will be there. So documents that you use, that you find, and that you think you might use again, use your history, your favorites. Just click on the star, just select category. Tomorrow I'm talking about e-invoicing apparently. So I've put aside every document that I wanted to show in my e-invoicing category. But of course you can type in over here category to just confirm. And then next time you click on your name and you click on my Jura favorites. And it will be there. The difference is because of course you can download, you can print. This is the link to the most current version. So it's important, like templates, like legislation, use this one. Always have the link to the most current version. Even if my colleagues are deleting it, you can see, well, it's been deleted from Jura, but you can contact us and we can send you the documents. It's never lost if we delete it. Maybe one thing, if there's a search that you think like the search history, to me it's limited. If there's a search you might use 4 times. So like, I have to search something based on the e-invoicing. E-invoicing, it's a simple search. I'm typing in e-invoicing, but if I have to search this one tomorrow again and the day after and the day after, so if there's a recurring search, let's say no relevancy but sorted by date, can save the URL. Each search in Jura has the same URL. So if you save this one, use Jura, I can in my favorites in my browser, but you have the same event on top. That's why I have this one as well, and that's why search, relevant search, that's important. Your favorite search, and save the URL. You have every keyword, you have every filter available. Copy paste. Even if you want to share something with a colleague, and just sometimes I'm just searching something, I can't find any results, and I just want to be sure that I've done the right thing. I'm sending the URL to my colleagues. This is what I did. Can use and continue. I think that concludes what I wanted to show. But maybe you have.
Does every document have a label, or are there certain documents you might miss when you only use the labels and not the keywords?
Normally, every document should have a label. Might be, there are some exceptions. I've seen documents that I think, well, great, but that I think, well, it might need a more specific label. Just contact us on the upper side, because about the invoicing B2B. My colleagues created 2 documents, value-added taxes, and another one tax-wise, but they've really created new tax. So
there a list of labels somewhere? No.
But if you want to, because I think we have like 40,000 tags, so it's a lot. If you want to know if there's a tag, it's an interesting question. I had a question about one of my friends this weekend. He thinks I work all the time, but if you want to know there's a tag, if you start in typing, you have a suggestion, means there will be a tag. Accepting the suggestion doesn't do the same as the tag, so that's very important, but it means these are in fact the tags. They will function in another way. But if you type in and there is one, there will be a tag. So that's my trick. If someone asks me to do a search, if I type in some keywords and I see one that's one-on-one, and I'm full of confidence. That's a little trick.
Just going through the models and I noticed that some of them you have to pay for it using credits. Are they all credits based or
We don't have models. No, oui,
you,
ils sont seulement disponibles en. C'est en pour voir avec. Il faut changer le titre des bibliothèques.
That's depending on the subscription you have, the models, and your subscription, you don't have any models. So that's why I wasn't really planning on talking of them, but you don't. So models for you have to pay each time. But once one of you is for a model, it will be available for everyone. Yeah. Expectations of the new Jura or AI wise, some things.
I have maybe a question. It's like super specific. Do you have something on energy or division energy law?
Yeah, and you can it's funny because it's a question received 3 times about energy is something. Yeah, so public
They don't know how to use it.
inside, and then there will be
Ah, nice. Okay.
and then maybe that's because I was going to talk about it. I'm going to write it down. We really need to do more with energy. If you have in your newsletter, if you selected over there called like preferred domain energy,
Yeah.
then you can add over here a filter on those preferred domains. So the domains you entered in your newsletter will be a possibility to add over here. So let's say you really done a good job, you select a lot of them. Well, you don't always have to select them in a search as well. You can always click on here. Just by energy, and I don't know which have, but it's an easy filter. So that's, oh yeah, I still add the keyword of it in it. Yeah, this is simply a list, of course. Yeah, we have energy.
Yeah, good.
Other questions? Then I can give everybody an extra 20 minutes, I'd say. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions? You should just know 2 things. Yes, we're working on AI, but it has to work as well. And 2, there will be another or modern version of Jura that will improve user experience.
Just to be sure, because you said for the one tool, the plugin integration that's for this year, right? That's not for next. Okay.
As we've been informed, it will be there in the beginning, the first half of this year.
All right.
So instead May, but I'm saying first half, so to give me some spare time. But yeah, should be there. In the first phase, it's only by selecting like a copy paste phase. It will be interesting.
And this plugin is part of our subscription. Okay.
Okay, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.